I've interviewed His Lordship, Richard O'Brien, a few times. In fact, I think once I mentioned that you were more like Richard O'Brien than Richard O'Brien is.
Oh my God.
But then you've probably done the show more as Riff Raff than he has anyway.
At this point, I don't know how it's happened, but I've done the show more than anyone, any character at all, which is, I don't know how that happened, but it just did.
Now, normally you interview a cast, and by a 6-month run or into a year, they're sort of stir crazy and phoning it in and have had enough. How have you managed to keep 2,000 performances fresh?
Yeah, 2050 or something like that. Do you know what? I'm not sure. I think it might be something in my brain that maybe malfunctions a little bit, and I don't get easily bored. And maybe I should get a job with sort of stuffing envelopes or something. I don't know. I'd be great at it. But every day for me is fresh and new, and I still get a little bit nervous. So I think that shows that I still care about it, and it also lets my brain know that it doesn't get complacent. So it still keeps it, it's still got energy there when I go to do it. So maybe it's just me.
I mean, you're lucky in that it's Rocky Horror, in that. I mean, the audience is you don't have a polite audience with Rocky Horror, do you?
No,
they're always going to be up for
true.
it from the word go.
It's true. The audiences definitely make it fun for me and all of the Rocky Horror cast. And because I always say this, they are like the extra character in the show. They are the ones they're the extra character in the show, but they're the ones who never know what they're going to say. Because sometimes they'll be quiet, and sometimes they'll be loud. And if you haven't been to Rocky Horror before, you might be a bit shocked by the fact that people around you might be shouting out things to the cast on stage, but it's fine. You can do that.
Well, there is a script for the audience. I don't know if it's official or not, isn't it? But
there is an official audience script, but you know what? I think things go by as they seem to happen all of a sudden with Rocky Horror, where something new will come up, and then that'll take off, and then suddenly a few months down the track you'll be like, oh, there's a new one again. I actually love it when somebody comes up with something new. It makes it really amazing for us.
I love watching the virgins coming in, and as you say, they go, because we're such a polite society here, aren't we? We're not used to people shouting out in the audience, and it's just. They just can't take it in until about the sort of the interval, really.
Yeah, I think after you've heard a few shout-outs and you realise it's okay, then people relax and they realise the people next to them aren't necessarily crazy. And but it makes it really special for me, and I think it's one of the things that makes Rocky Horror so popular is the fact that people come along dressed up, and there are shout-outs, and it's almost like it's an immersive bit of theatre before anyone knew what immersive theatre was, and there was Rocky Horror. And
we're getting a bit bolder because, I'm old enough to go back many years seeing Rocky Horror. I don't think I've seen it as many times as you performed it, but getting close. And it used to be only the Friday and Saturday night where people dressed up. Now it's the whole flipping week, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's certainly people that are out there dressed. On a Monday or a Tuesday, you'll still find people dressed up there, but they do come out in full force on Friday and Saturday nights. But it's different every night, and I think that's what's amazing about theatre. You can come along and have a different experience, and the Rocky Horror audiences vouch for that because they keep on coming back and again and again and again and again. And I don't think they'd do that if it was exactly the same every time. It's a different experience for them too.
And after the couple of lockdown years, as I call them, what an escapism, what a way to get away from COVID and all that malarkey for a bit of madness with you on stage.
I think Rocky Horror is the perfect show for that. Because you're guaranteed of having a good time. You're guaranteed of being silly. It's not like you're going to something that you might not have ever heard of before. It's going to be good, and there's a reason it's been around for nearly 50 years, and it continues to be doing really well. Which is amazing in this time when theatre is struggling, and Rocky Horror always seems to defy the rules. And it's a show I'm very proud to be a part of.
So what are you expecting from your High Wycombe audience? You don't want them to let you down.
No, they're not. There was people dressed up there last night, and I saw some wild costumes last night, actually. I spied them out the back. I don't see much in the audience, but if there's a wild costume there, my eyes go straight to it. So, High Wycombe's just like every other place where, I think people know what to expect with Rocky Horror, and they come out and they have a few drinks before they get here, or, they catch up with friends, and they're going to come along and have a good time. They're not going to be challenged in a way where, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this. You're going to have a good time no matter what.
And the reluctant other halves of the wives that come who didn't want to dress up like that seem to flourish when they get here and take over from the wives.
They do. As soon as they put on those fishnets, it releases something in them that they may not have been released before. And, they're the ones who seem to enjoy it the most. I don't know what that's saying. I don't know what that's saying about them, but thank God they're there.